In DDM 2008.2, enhancements to the web client allow improved control over viewing rights for external suppliers or customers. Using a combination of DDM folders, the DDM web login and advanced access controls, it is now possible to restrict viewing rights to just the drawings, parts, assemblies or documents that have been referenced into a supplier's or a customer's folder. This means that when a supplier or customer logs into DDM web, they will just see items that are in folders that they own. This opens up the opportunity for giving suppliers access to the latest drawings for quotation or manufacture. Customers can access the latest user manuals. Service technicians can access full product-based technical information. This viewlet shows how to set up restricted DDM web access through the DDM administration tool. A separate viewlet shows how to use this new and powerful functionality. We will create a restricted web account for one of our customers. From the admin tool, if we open the user groups, you will find a new DDM system group called Restricted Web Users. This database is already set up to give restricted web access to 3 suppliers, and so these are included in the Restricted Web User group. First, we must create a user account for the customer. The details are added for the customer called Vending Supplies. The email address is important. When a folder is made available to the customer, when the folder ownership is transferred, they will receive an email notifying them that they now have new files available and instructing them of any required action they must take. Now we have added the user, we need to create the customer group. In this case, we are creating one login for this customer. We could create additional accounts for the customer that could then be included in the customers group. Now the customer group is created, we must apply the relevant access controls. In this case, we're just adding view and load rights to objects at a released state. Next, we're going to create a specific folder template that will be used to create folders containing customer-specific drawings, documents, etc. referenced from the database. It is possible to use one of the standard folder templates such as default project. However, by creating your own, you can customize the template specifically for purpose. In this example, we would take a copy of the default project folder template to create our own customer folder template. Now the template is created, open it and edit it as required. For this template, I want to remove one of the default folder states, just leaving the states of active and closed. We can modify the folder template and add additional attributes. Once this is done, we can preview the folder form. If we take a look at the supplier folder template, we can see that this has been customized to provide additional supplier information, such as contact details on the folder form. Next, we need to assign folder roles. We can either create a specific role for this customer or add them to a generic customer role. You will notice that this database has specific roles or groupings for each supplier. Different access controls may be required for each supplier group or role. This is flexible. In this example, we will create a generic customer role that all customers can be assigned to. When setting up the roles, you will need to add a user who controls the customer account. In this case, I am adding the engineering manager. This user will create the customer folder and add objects to it, allowing the customer to access them. It is good practice to add the administrator to this role also. Finally, we need to set the access controls for the customer folder template we have just created. As we created this folder template by copying the default project template, we must first remove the access controls associated with the default project. Once these are removed, we can add access controls specifically for the customer folder. You will notice that the administrator is granted full access controls by default. We just need to add controls for the customer role that we added. The controls shown here are suitable for this application, as the customer cannot access DDM directly and so will not be able to make changes to the folder. If we turn back to the user group, so far we have not added the customer to the restricted web user group. This will allow us to see how this control affects the search results in DDM Web. If we log into DDM Web using the customer's username, we can see they have full access to all objects at a released state. If we now add the customer to the restricted web user group and re-log in, we can see that they now cannot see any objects. Currently they do not have ownership of any folders, and therefore they will not see any results when searching in DDM Web. Access will be denied because they are part of the restricted web access group. This concludes the viewlet on the administration of restricted web user accounts. Please take time to view the second viewlet in the series that shows restricted web user accounts being applied in practice.